The tire blew like a gunshot in the frozen dusk. Rebecca gripped the wheel, breath fogging the windshield. Snow gusts stitched the world into a white curtain. Her phone showed one bar, then surrendered to none. Silence pressed hard, the kind that hums in bones. She stepped out, boots sinking past the ankles. Wind needled her cheeks, sharp as unspoken truths. The jack slipped once, twice, hands burning with cold. She whispered, "Don't panic," to the wide, indifferent sky. The road answered with nothing but long, pale wind. Headlights flared behind her, a soft halo in drift. A pickup idled, heat ghosting from the grill. "Need a hand," a man called, voice steady as cedar. He wore a red knit cap and a kindly squint. "Tom," he said, as if that could warm the air. Together they lifted, breath sinking in white puffs. He taught her the trick of the iron and leverage. Despair clicked into place like a held breath. Pine Hollow's still 20 miles, he warned gently. Storms flirting with Sirius, his smile half bright. She followed his truck, taillights twin embers ahead. The road curled through pines, black trunks, white shoulders. Her hand steadied the wheel, less a stranger. The radio hissed, then surrendered to him like static. In that static, she felt something like company. When town lights finally spilled over the snow, she exhaled. Tom waved once and peeled toward a side street. She rolled past a wooden sign, Pine Hollow, Montana. The name felt old, like a story waiting its teller. Behind her, wind braided the tire tracks shut. She parked by a dark, sagging house with a porch sigh. Keys trembled, lock argued, door yielded with a groan. The cold inside had a different kind of teeth. Rebecca whispered, "We made it, Grandpa." Outside, the storm gathered its deeper breath. The first step into the kitchen tasted of dust. Moonlight found the sink, a silver bowl of quiet. Floorboards spoke in shy creaks under her weight. A faded calendar clung to 1999, stubborn and brown. She set her suitcase down like a truce. Photographs leaned in a shoebox on the counter. Smiling faces, men in hats, a girl with missing teeth. There she was, 8 years old, flower on her nose, her grandfather's arm around her, strong and easy. "Snow won't hurt you if you listen," his eyes said. She checked rooms, turning knobs that felt like coins. Windows wore fractures like thin white rivers. A nest of leaves dozed in the fireplace. Cold threaded every doorway with careful fingers. The house waited, watchful, almost polite. She found a letter tucked behind a cracked frame, her name on the envelope, ink softened by time. Inside, brief lines, neat as rows of corn. "Courage is not loud, Becca, it's steady. Start small." Her chest warmed in a slow, surprising tide. She sealed the gaps with towels and old quilts. A match flared, bright as a tiny sunrise. Kindling snapped. The first ember took faith. Smoke argued, then agreed to climb the chimney. Heat unfolded, tentative, like a shy animal. She boiled water on a stubborn, rattling stove. Teabag darkened the steam with quiet resolve. She cupped the mug and stood by the fire. Snow pressed its face to the windows, listening. "Start small," she repeated, as if practicing. Upstairs, she chose the room with a pine view. She left boxes unopened, left memories to rest. Under a heavy blanket, breath slowed to winter pace. The wind hummed an old half-remembered lullaby. Morning would come, and with it, the next tiny step. Morning was blue glass and brittle frost. Her breath made soft ghosts in the hallway. She mapped the house with careful footsteps. Every hinge sang one lonely note. Silence collected in corners like snowdot. She spoke to the portrait in the stairwell. "Did you know I'd come back like this?" The man looked past her with field-bright eyes. His mouth held an almost laugh, almost advice. She took it as permission to try. The woodpile out back had collapsed in sleep. She righted it. Mittened hands, clumsy but willing. Splinters stung. Small proof of being alive. The axe head was dull, handle smooth with memory. She found rhythm, awkward, then steadier. Inside, the hearth learned her name again. Flames tugged at logs with patient teeth. She moved a chair closer, claimed a small kingdom. Toast popped up darker than intended, still welcome. Butter melted like a slow sunrise on bread. The phone chimed with a Chicago number. She watched it ring and ring into hush. Old life calling, old expectations, old ache. She let it pass like a migratory bird. Freedom had the sound of not answering. Afternoon brought a wind that spoke in vowels. She opened a window a finger's width anyway. Cold kissed her face, honest and bright. She tasted iron, pine, and something hopeful. The house exhaled, grateful to be heard. Before dusk, She wrote on an index card, goal, fix one window, meet one neighbor. She taped it above the kitchen light, 2 small lanterns to guide tomorrow's steps. Outside, Snow listened, then began to applaud. A knock came like knuckles on a drum. Rebecca froze, then laughed at herself softly. She opened to a woman wrapped in tartan. "Hi, honey, I'm Martha from up the road." Her smile had edges worn smooth by kindness. "I brought a pie. Apple. Maybe you need sugar." Steam escaped the box in cinnamon curls. The smell slid through the hallway like music. Rebecca's stomach answered with a shy growl. They both laughed, ice cracking between strangers. Martha took in the cracked glass. "The quilts. Winter's bossy here. We boss back," she said. She pointed out the wood stove gasket trick, showed the window latch that begged for oil. Solutions arrived like sparrows on a wire. They sat at the table, mugs, warming hands. Martha asked no sharp questions, only soft ones. Rebecca shared breadcrumbs, not the whole loaf. Loss, divorce, a store that became a ghost. Martha nodded, language of women who know. "There's a town cafe," Martha offered gently. "Tom runs it. Decent coffee, better advice. Come tomorrow. Meet the heart of Pine Hollow." Rebecca felt her chest widen, a careful inch. An invitation is a door you don't have to force. They walked the porch, boots speaking to boards. Martha pointed at clouds, reading weather's diary. "Snow tonight. Nothing rude," she predicted. "Bring that brave coat." She winked and waved. Rebecca watched her footprints soften into white. Inside, Rebecca wrote a new card. Goal. Cafe at 10. Say yes once. The house seemed to lean in approval. Pie cooled, pie healed, pie promised company. Outside, evening folded the day with gentle hands. The bell over the door chimed like tin birds. Coffee air wrapped her in roasted warmth. A chalkboard declared, "Today, courage special." Locals murmured like brooks under ice. Tom glanced up, grin, easy, eyes steady. "You made it," he said, as if it mattered. She ordered coffee, hands finding a calm. Steam rose, brave and ordinary at once. Tom poured, the sound like soft rain. "First cups on the house," he added. A bulletin board bloomed with paper petals. "Lost gloves, choir nights, a community bazaar. Could use help Saturday," Tom mentioned lightly. "Sorting donations, lifting spirits, both welcome." Rebecca felt yes rise like a shy tide dot at a corner table. Martha waved her over. Introductions braided names with smiles and nods. Stories swapped coats and warmed chairs quickly. Rebecca offered small truths, kept others pocketed. No one pushed. The kindness was roomy. Tom brought pie that tasted of August. They spoke of storms, of roads, of second tries. He didn't ask about Chicago's ghosts. He asked what her hands liked to make. "Window light," she joked, and then ordered. A gust rattled the door, winter clearing its throat. Someone mentioned a storm flirting midweek. Tom posted a list. "Blankets, soup, check-ins, community works, if we all tug," he said. Rebecca felt her sleeve caught by purpose. Before leaving, she touched the bazaar flyer. "Count me in," she heard herself say aloud. Tom's smile brightened like a small lighthouse. Martha's wink said, "Welcome to the tug." Outside, snow fell softer, as if listening. The church hall smelled of pine cleaner and history. Boxers towered like quiet monuments to generosity. Rebecca folded scarves, sorted old china, stacked books. Her fingers brushed a familiar label, her old boutique's tag. A ghost of perfume rose, sharp with memory. The world tilted briefly back to Chicago. The laughter, the customers, the debt that ate everything. She steadied herself with a breath and a smile. "Not all endings are failures," Martha whispered nearby. Rebecca nodded, words sinking deep and warm. She carried the box to the donation table. Each step felt like unthreading the past. Her hands trembled, but her back stayed straight. Letting go had a sound, soft paper sliding away. Freedom rustled, quieter than grief, but just as real. Tom caught her gaze across the room. He was hauling blankets, grin smudged with effort. "Doing okay," he called over the chatter. "Better than I thought," she replied honestly. The truth surprised her with its lightness. Children ran between tables with mitten joy. Rebecca laughed, the sound half foreign, half home. A woman thanked her for the donated coats. "You're helping more than you know," she said. Rebecca swallowed, heart expanding against old walls. Later, she watched snowdrift against the windows. The town moved like one heartbeat, steady and kind. Her hands smelled of dust and lemon polish. A clean smell, a cleared space inside her chest. The bazaar bell chimed, sealing the day shut. Back home, she lit the fire without hesitation. The crackle sounded like approval from the walls. She opened her journal to a blank, brave page. Today I gave away what no longer fits. Outside, snow fell like a benediction. The next morning dawned quiet, fragile as glass. She returned to the hall to finish the cleanup. Among forgotten boxes, one weighted with her name. Inside lay a leather-bound book, brittle and brown. Her grandfather's handwriting leaned across the years. The first page began with a farmer's certainty. Winter humbles us, Becca. That's its gift. Ink had bled where tears or snow once fell. She traced the words, fingertip, reverent and small. A warmth bloomed, delicate as an ember. She carried the diary home under her coat. The wind pressed like an eager companion. Inside, she cleared a space on the kitchen table. Each crack in the cover felt like a heartbeat. History breathing, waiting to speak again. Entries spoke of crops, storms, neighbors' laughter. Then lines about courage, quiet and plain. Courage is keeping the fire lit when no one sees. She whispered it aloud, testing its weight. It fit perfectly inside her chest. At dusk, she brewed tea and kept reading. Pages turned like steady footsteps on snow. Her grandfather had known the ache of starting over. He'd lost a harvest, then planted again anyway. Rebecca smiled through tears that surprised her. She marked one sentence with a trembling star. The winter does not kill, it prepares the ground. The phrase wrapped around her like a wool coat. She wrote it on the wall above her desk. Hope now had handwriting she recognized. When night deepened, she banked the fire low. Wind moaned softly, but no longer scared her. She felt her grandfather near, calm and steady. Prepare the ground, she murmured into the dark. Sleep came like snowfall, slow, forgiving, absolute. The storm arrived like a story told too loud. Wind screamed through cracks with wild delight. Snow slammed against glass, thick as fury. Lights flickered, stuttered, and finally died. Darkness swallowed the house whole. Rebecca's breath smoked in the sudden chill. She found the lantern by memory, not sight. Matches snapped, sulfur kissing the dark. One small flame, stubborn as a heartbeat. It painted her shadow on the old walls. The roof groaned, protesting heaven's weight. She wrapped herself in blankets, boots still on. Outside, trees bent in desperate choreography. Inside, time thinned until it almost broke. She read the diary by the fragile glow. Her grandfather wrote of another storm. Decades passed. He'd lost half the herd and still found grace. Fire teaches us patience, the entry said. She smiled, breath frosting over the words. Her hands stopped shaking, steadied by faith. Hours stretched, elastic and strange. She boiled snow in a dented pot for tea. The taste was metallic, sharp, and true. She laughed aloud at its honesty. The sound startled the quiet into kindness. At dawn, the wind fell into exhausted peace. Snow lay heavy, beautiful, forgiven. Rebecca stepped outside, boots crunching first tracks. The sky, pale as ash, opened wide above her. Still here, she whispered, and meant it. The phone buzzed mid-morning, tinny and urgent. Martha's voice crackled with concern and purpose. Can you help, honey? Pete's barn collapsed last night. Rebecca didn't think she moved. Action, it seemed, was the new prayer. She layered wool, packed a thermos, stepped into glare. The cold bit, but she bit back harder. Snow blinded, but her memory of warmth guided. At Pete's farm, the barn lay like a broken rib cage. Men shoveled, faces set, breath-heavy clouds. Martha waved her over with mittened command. Start with the feed. Keep it dry if you can. Rebecca joined, muscles awakening in protest. The rhythm returned, familiar from younger days. Work was language, and she remembered fluently. Hours later, they uncovered the last trapped goat. A cheer rose, small but fierce. Rebecca's arms trembled with exhaustion and pride. Tom handed her coffee, grin bright in the frost. Didn't think you were the sit-around type, he teased. She smiled, cheeks burning red and alive. This town doesn't let anyone sit long, she said. They laughed, sound carrying through icy air. For the first time, laughter didn't echo back lonely. It simply stayed, warming the space between them. When the work ended, she looked at her hands, raw, blistered, honest proof of belonging. Martha clapped her shoulder, voice soft now. See, you're one of us already, Rebecca. The words melted faster than snow in sunlight. That night, she wrote under the lantern's hum. Today I moved, and the world moved with me. The fire popped in agreement, a living applause. She closed the diary, heart full and quiet. Outside, stars blinked awake like old friends. Tom's pickup rattled up her drive at dawn. He leaned out, smile hidden in scarf and steam. Got a favor to ask, carpenter lady. She raised an eyebrow, surprised by the title. Your grandpa's barn, think we can save it? The barn crouched behind the house, weary and gray. Beams bowed, roof missing, teeth of shingles. Inside, dust danced in gold shafts of light. Rebecca ran her hand along the cold wood. It's still breathing, she said softly. Tom set out tools. Rhythm steady, easy. She followed his lead, awkward but willing. The smell of sawdust rewound her spirit. Each nail driven sounded like a heartbeat. Silence between them grew warm. COMPANIONABLE. As boards met boards, she felt something shift. Her grief dulled, shaped into muscle and purpose. Tom hummed under his breath. Old country tune. It blended with the creak of wood and wind. The day brightened, light pooling like trust. During lunch, they sat on the barn steps. Steam rose from soup and twin ghostly ribbons. Why fix something so old? She asked quietly. Tom smiled. Because it still wants to stand. The words sank deep, roots finding soil. By dusk, the frame stood prouder, less broken. Rebecca brushed sawdust from her sleeves. You're good at this, Tom said simply. She laughed, surprised at how it felt to believe him. Guess I'm not just passing through, she replied. That night, she wrote by a tired, happy fire. My hands remember what strength feels like. Her muscles ached, but her soul stretched wide. She looked out at the barn, shadowed and whole. Tomorrow, she decided, she would plant something new. Morning cracked open pink and gold. Frost smoked off the barn's new roof. Rebecca stood with coffee, hands still sore. Tom arrived, toolbox in rhythm with laughter. Ready for the next miracle? He said. They cleared the last debris, floorboards sighing. Rebecca imagined tables, sunlight, voices, an art space. She murmured, for everyone. Tom paused, eyes reflecting surprise and pride. Then let's build that, he answered simply. They measured, hammered, argued kindly. Wood dust clung like snow to their sleeves. Martha brought sandwiches and teasing smiles. The town drifted in, offering hands and stories. Work became celebration, a quiet festival. Children painted signs in bright, uneven strokes. Rebecca guided small hands, laughter easy now. Her fear of failing melted in their joy. Tom fixed lights while humming old tunes. Each bulb flickered awake like a promise kept. When the sun slipped, the barn glowed inside. Warm yellow spilled into the white field. Rebecca leaned on a post, chest swelling calm. Feels like it's breathing again, she whispered. Tom nodded, just like you. That night, she lit a single candle by the diary. Today, I gave this house a reason to sing, she wrote. Wind brushed the window as if in applause. For the first time, the silence felt friendly. Winter had begun to loosen its hold. The phone rang just before dawn. An unfamiliar number, yet known by heart. She hesitated, pulse quick as sparrows, then pressed answer, breath held tight. Rebecca, the voice said, low, careful. It was David, her ex-husband, years distant. He spoke of regrets, of how things unraveled. His tone held the tremor of late apologies. She listened. Calm as morning frost. I hope you're well, she said simply. He paused, waiting for old anger to return, but none came, only a gentle emptiness. I'm learning, she added softly. The silence stretched, not cruel, just final. Take care, David, she finished, and meant it. Afterward, she sat by the window, unshaken. Snow fell like forgiveness, one flake at a time. Her reflection looked older, stronger, lighter. The woman in the glass no longer hid. She smiled, small but true. Outside, Tom's truck passed on the road. He waved, unaware of her quiet milestone. She waved back, gratitude blooming warm. The past no longer owned her breath. The future waited, patient as sunrise. She opened the diary again, heart steady. One page had loosened, fluttering free. Her grandfather's note read, let go kindly. Tears came, soft and cleansing. By dawn, she felt entirely new. The air shifted, subtle and shy. Snow softened, shrinking under pale light. Icicles wept silver tears along the eaves. Rebecca knelt by the steps, hands in soil. It was still frozen, but ready to yield. She planted seeds in cautious rows. Marigold, thyme, and wild daisy packets. Grow when you can, she whispered to each. Her fingers came up black with promise. The earth hummed faintly, remembering warmth. At the barn, light poured through clean panes. The townsfolk gathered, laughter echoing bright. Children brought paintings, elders their crafts. Rebecca arranged them, curator of new beginnings. Every wall glowed with color and courage. Tom hung the final sign above the door. Pine Hollow, workshop, open to all. He turned, hands on hips, pride, quiet and deep. You did this, he told her softly. We did, she corrected, eyes shining. They opened the doors at noon, sharp. People streamed in, breath mixing with wonder. Music, paint, the smell of sawdust and soup. Rebecca felt her pulse matched the crowd's rhythm. Her heart beat with the towns again. When dusk arrived, candles lined the porch. Children sang off-key but fearless. Rebecca leaned against the doorframe. Full, snowflakes fell, hesitant, almost playful. Even winter, she thought, had learned to smile. The festival came with lanterns and laughter. Pine Hollow shimmered beneath stringed stars. Drums and fiddles tangled through the cold air. Rebecca walked among friends, eyes wet with joy. The barn glowed like a promise kept. Martha pressed a cup of cider into her hands. See what you built, honey, she whispered. Rebecca looked around, disbelief tender and real. Children danced, elders clapped offbeat. The night pulsed with grateful life. Tom joined her near the fire pit. Quiet. Your grandfather would have loved this, he said. She smiled, warmth spreading deeper than flame. I think he's here, she answered softly. Wind curled around them, gentle and knowing. A projector lit the barn's side wall. Photos of the town appeared, faces beaming. Rebecca's picture flashed, last hammer in hand. Applause rose, filling her with awe. She bowed her head, tears shining like frost. Later, as the crowd drifted home, she lingered. The last lanterns swayed in sleepy arcs. Tom touched her shoulder, eyes quiet with meaning. You're staying, right? He asked softly. I think I already did, she replied. They stood in the hush that follows laughter. Snowflakes brushed their hair, weightless blessings. Somewhere, a bell marked midnight's slow approach. Rebecca looked up and whispered, thank you. The stars flickered back their answer. Morning came soft, pale gold, through frost. The barn slept in peaceful stillness. Rebecca brewed tea, window open to cold air. Her breath rose like prayer, honest and unheard. The world had finally matched her calm. She opened her new journal, fresh and green. Its first page weighted like untouched snow. Pen met paper with steady grace. The winter is not gone, she wrote. It simply moved inside, where it belongs. Outside, children's laughter stitched the distance. The town's life hummed, low and constant. Rebecca watched, heartful but unhurried. Everything once broken now belonged somewhere. Even silence had a gentle voice again. Tom arrived, boots marking the snow's crust. He handed her a seed packet. Mischievous grin. Summer project, he said. A garden behind the barn. She took it, warmth blooming in her palms. Then, spring better hurry, she laughed. They walked toward the fields together, footprints paired, merging at each step. Wind moved through the pines like blessing. Rebecca tilted her face to the sky. Gratitude poured out, silent and whole. At the garden fence, she paused to look back. The house, the barn, the life reborn in snow. Everything gleamed with quiet purpose. She whispered, we did it, Grandpa. And somewhere deep inside, the winter bowed.